By the end of this video, you will learn the best way to structure your loan to pay off your home or investment property in the most quickest and efficient manner possible. So just make sure you stick right till the end. But without further ado, let's get straight into the video. The first step in order to set up and optimize your home loan is to conduct your own due diligence. I know how unsexy, unpleasing it sounds, however, hear me out, alright? I much rather prefer you guys constantly questioning my videos, questioning everything I say, opposed to rather than blindly just absorbing it. Because in a game of investing, you're liable to lose money. Not to mention property. We're literally leveraging lots of amounts of money and you're taking out a loan. So keep that in mind. However, let's get straight into the video. So the first thing is that you need is a professional home loan package. And well, what is a professional home loan package? You can think of a professional home loan package as a bundling of many banking and just loan products. So for example, the Commonwealth Bank Mortgage Advantage package, well, it's quite similar amongst all of them, is that they have a 100% offset account. They give you a credit card, which you can directly link up and things like that. They give you lots of discounts, such as on your interest rate, maybe like I think it was 0.7% or something on your standard variable rate, they give that. And on top of that, they give discounts for things such as car insurance, content and home insurance, and if you're an investor, even landlord insurance. So there's a huge plethora of things where this can come into, and this topic needs a dedicated video for itself, and I'll make one in the future comparing the top 5 home loan packages available, professional home loan packages available. So stay tuned for that. Now I'll move on to the second step. Just before I move on to the second step, welcome to my channel. My name is Mihir and I upload educational content such as this twice a week. So if you're interested, please hit like and hit subscribe. Without further ado, let's get straight into the content. The second step is to set up a 100% offset account, which is linked to your home loan, and be sure to make sure it's linked. I know how obvious and stupid it sounds, but please double check and make sure it's linked. And for you guys who don't know what an 100% offset account is, think of it as a savings account which is linked to your home loan. So if you put in, let's say you got a house for $500,000, right? You put a let's just say you borrowed out in full, right, for $500,000. If you put $100,000 into the offset account, then you essentially offset the mortgage balance to $400,000. So instead of paying $500,000 worth of interest, so paying interest on the $500,000, you'd be paying interest on the $400,000. As due to $100,000 being in the offset account, you reduce the interest applicable from $500,000 to $400,000. That's a very basic level understanding of it. If you're still unsure, please check out that video. Otherwise, now I'll move on to step 3. The third step is the easiest step in all of these, and that is to make sure your salary is directly credited into your offset account. And the reason we do that is because we want to keep as much money as possible in the offset account, right? And the reason why we're doing this is obviously to offset the interest rate. But something you guys may not know is that interest is calculated on a daily basis. So the more money you have in the offset account, at the end of the day, the less interest you have to pay overall in the end of the home loan cycle. And this also speeds up the loan term, if you didn't realize. So what Aussies don't realize, majority of them, is that by the time that they finish their loan term, let's say in 30 years or so, most of that money will be directed towards interest, like twice the amount. Like let's say you get a loan for $500,000 and you'll be paying around 1 million, 1.5 million easily by the end of loan term. And where's that money all going? Towards interest. So it's better if we can save our money rather than paying interest payments. And the way we do that is by putting money in the offset account. So if we have a $500,000 house, right, just 100% LVR, no deposit, nothing, and then we park $100,000 into the offset account, interest is only being applied on $400,000. And the reason for that is because we have $100,000 in the offset account. If we had, let's say, $250,000 in the offset account, then interest will only be applicable to $250,000 in the home loan, because you're effectively reducing it with the offset account. So that's the idea here. And if you're still unsure, just watch that video I made before. Otherwise, now I'll be moving on to step 4. The fourth step is to make sure you use an interest-free credit card to fund your lifestyle and living expenses. Most professional home loan packages come with a 44-day or a 55-day interest-free credit card. And another good thing on top of that is you can get one of those credit cards which has those frequent flyer options. As you can imagine, if you're putting all your living expenses onto that credit card, you can easily accumulate enough points and get a vacation or one holiday per year for free. It's sort of like what those people do with travel hacking, where they just go for more cards and they switch cards around to acquire more points to travel for free. It's the same sort of concept here, pretty much, because you're accumulating the same amount of points as you're putting all your living expenses onto the card. So that's another thing you can do. Who doesn't want a free holiday? If this doesn't blow your mind, I don't know what does, because you're essentially getting one holiday per year, or roughly give or take, alongside paying off your home loan faster. This is fabulous and fantastic. You're literally using the bank's money to fund your lifestyle. Another point, or a point I brought up previously, is that the goal is to keep as much money as possible into the offset account. And I know I sound like a broken record here. Mihir, pretty. Yes, I know, but that's the main goal of this point. Yeah, sure, the free traveling, all that's sick, but the whole point is to park as much money as we can into the offset account in order to reduce the lifespan of the loan and the interest payable after the loan term. Keep that in mind. The next step, sort of, is essentially putting and making sure you have auto sweep on. So what auto sweep is essentially when one account automatically transfers money to another. You can think of it like that. If you put auto sweep on the credit card, money from the offset account, which is where our salary and all our income and everything like that is going, it will automatically transfer to the credit card before the interest period begins, so we don't have to pay any interest. How good is that, living off the bank's money? The next points I'm going to talk about, they're just points, they're not really individual steps, as I've already mentioned them before, but I just want to say them again to give you more clarity. So make sure you put all your direct debits, all your expenses, everything, all your living expenses onto the credit card, because you want as much money in the offset account, as I've said numerous times, but at the same time so you can maximize how many points you get. So make sure you put your direct debits there, 100%, and put all your income in the offset account. I don't care whether that's a bonus, a gift, a commission, anything, just as much money wherever you can get into the offset account to reduce the interest. There's the sort of points I want to bring on. And now I'll move on to the final step. The last step. This is literally the make it or break it of this whole plan, because everything else falls apart if you can't make it with this last step. And that is simply to keep a budget. Before you roll your eyes and start complaining and just get upset, just because you're budgeting doesn't mean you're living off like ramen noodles, or you're living in like, you know, like a tiny box sort of thing, which is quite funny. All I'm asking you to be is financially responsible and differentiating between a need and a want. It's quite simple. Do you really need a new car every couple of years? I mean, sure, everyone's fine. I mean, it's going to get you from point A to point B, really? Or do you need to get an iPhone every year? Especially when they're giving half the product. Sheesh, that's tough. But you get the point, essentially. It's essentially distinguishing between a need and a want. And it's basically short-term versus long-term thinking. And you got to combat this instant gratification. Because if you, let's say the car, right? Let's say with 10 grand, 20, whatever. Let's say you park this offset account. You're liable to save so much money down the line, right? And let's say if you didn't do that, you'd be paying for that after tax money as well. Right? Did you know that the majority, or pretty much the average Australian, works Monday to Tuesday for the ATO? Really? So like Monday and Tuesday are all gone. So Wednesday, Thursday and Friday is when you're truly working for yourself. So I think it's much better to save that money just by putting it there, just a little amount, just putting it there, rather than just blowing it on something stupid. That's personally my views. Otherwise, if you can't do this or can't commit to saving bits of money, I mean, I'm sorry, this plan won't work for you. It's simple as that. So what I recommend for people who are not too good with saving money is just put little bits of amounts. So if you already have a home loan, put little bits of amounts to offset. If you don't have an offset account, just build a habit of saving little bits, and cutting out things gradually, because that's what we want to do. Gradual, consistent motions, so that you eventually get to a point where you're comfortable with this. And then you can, you know, ramp up your lifestyle later on. But right now we want to go a bit lower in terms of spending and maximize what we can do. As for budgeting, how I do it, I just use like the old school Excel sheets. However, on Money Smart, there's some good calculators you can find. I'll put like a link in the description for some of them. I'll test them out first and see if I like them, then I'll put them down. Otherwise, that should sort of help you in your budgeting journey. To sum up this video, I'll just be summing through the steps. I may sort of mess up with the order, but I'll just go sequentially. So the first action or step you must take is to get a professional home loan package. They cost around $400, but based on the amount of time you're saving alongside money, they're worth. The next step after that is to set up a 100% offset account linked to the home loan. Make sure it's linked. Stupid as it is, make sure it's linked. The next step after that is to directly credit your salary into the offset account. So any income you have to boom, 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 because we want to attack this home loan. The next step after that is to make sure you're using an interest-free credit card, whether that be 44 days, 55 days, and put all your living expenses on there. And another sort of bonus is you can get one of those frequent flyer cards or something, because you can accumulate lots of points since all your living expenses are on that. And that can lead to free travel or free holiday once per year, something like that. The next step after that would be to essentially set up a auto sweep function, so that just before the interest period kicks in, the money from your offset account just goes straight to your credit card and pays it off, so you have nothing by the end of the interest-free period, so you won't pay any interest. The next sort of points after that I brung up were make sure all your income is on the offset account, as much money you can find, savings, everything, because you want to take down the bad debt. And make sure you directly you put all your direct debits on your card. This is just to maximize points and just keeping everything succinct. And the last step, which may have turned off some people, is budgeting, because none of this is possible if you don't have the ability to be financially responsible. You can't make wealth by just blowing it every time. You know, just like the standard Australians living paycheck to paycheck. This can't work that way, because you're literally putting, like, you can think of your offset account even as an emergency fund. You're literally putting money away. And if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you clearly can't do that. So build up small sequential saving habits, maybe, whether that be like $10 or even like $5. Just go up gradually, and eventually become consistent with it, where it gets easy and it becomes a habit. Simple as that. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, and if you have any comments, any criticisms, please leave them down below, as I'm more than happy to hear them. But besides that, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Goodbye.